Hi, my name is Nosa. Some of you guys know me as Siobhan, and this is a Spurs video podcast, which some of you've decided to call YouTubes. So, I didn't do many of that YouTubes this season because no one really watches them, but they are fun for me to do. So yeah, gonna give a shout out to a couple of people that I've had a chance to meet. A guy called Ken Saxton, and who runs a really good podcast called Hotspur America. They're based in Texas, I believe. Although he's now based in Missouri. And I had the very wonderful pleasure of actually meeting Ken and the Coach and Horses. Somehow he ended up being on the Spurs show, I recognised his voice, and I was like, Ken Saxton? He goes, yeah, and he goes, you're on the Spurs show. And so yeah. And giving a shout out to another pod called the Tottenham Podcast, or Comfortably Tottenham. They're based in North Carolina, I believe. And they're very enthusiastic. And first of all, I've got to say, Billy, buy those beers. So let's just get talking. Spurs. It's been an interesting season. Normally, 2013, what will turn out to be ABB's last season, really kind of poisoned so many people. Poisoned me anyway, because it was like, you really thought, you know what? Yes, we've lost Bale, but we've really strengthened, and because there was always a fear if we lost Bale, or even if we kept him, but he got injured or something, we didn't have enough strength and depth. It turns out that what we bought was really much of a muchness, and one of the things that I don't want to have a go at Franco Baldini, obviously, but if you look at those players, obviously Lamelo did very well in Italy, but most of those players he bought would have been great in Italy just because it's a lot less physical, it's not as quick, and I don't know, you just feel they would have excelled there. Obviously Lamelo did excel there, but we've moved on a year, and some of the football on the show, it was absolutely awful. The atmosphere was poisonous. You see Levy out banners, and you know what? Daniel Levy gets a lot of shit. I'm not a Levy lover. I'm not a Levy hater. I'm just, he is, he owns what 10-15%. Jonas Lewis owns the rest. So unless any of you guys know any Arab or Russians or whoever, big billionaires with loads of loose change in their pockets, you can rant and scream, or you can just put up with it. And, I can't control what they do. All I can do is hope that they all act in the best interests of the club. The new stadium, which I'll talk about later, but it has got me excited. For some of you who don't know, I actually live in Enfield. I'm far enough so the increased traffic and foot traffic, everything won't affect me, but I'm close enough that I'm near enough. I can just walk there in about half an hour. So as I suppose, I'm really happy that they've done. They've got this new stadium. There are things I'm not happy about. For those you don't know, I actually am originally from Tottenham, and Tottenham's an area of great social deprivation. So the fact that there's zero social housing in there, and this is an area which has huge amounts of poverty. We saw Tottenham right 2011. That was as much a frustration about how shitty Tottenham life can be, much as Mark Dugan. So let's just I'm not going into what that was about, but and Harringay Council have, I wouldn't say subsidised it, but they have let a lot of costs go, which I can imagine a lot of Arsenal fans will be like, oh look, and to be fair, they're right, because we talk about they're doing this thing to regenerate Tottenham, but it does seem don't get wrong, I do think Levy is passionate about the area, and I do think he wants to help Tottenham. I don't think he's not he's completely mercantile in that manner, but I do think that he is employed by Joe Lewis and the other, really to run the club and to run the club financially in the best interest of the club, and so which is what they do. But I've seen some of the stuff they do at Tottenham Foundation, and it's impressive what they do. They do some really good stuff. So but we'll move on to that later. In terms of this season, we've made some really good signings, I think. Clearly defence was a problem last year. I think we conceded 53 goals, so that's more than Hull and the same amount as Burnley, who both got relegated. Clearly we can score goals, but it's about keeping on in. So Carl Walker, I've never met Carl Walker, but I can imagine him to be, he's had problems with injuries, keeping physically fit throughout the entire season. And he's the best defender. He'll admit, defender, look, I base my play on Dani Alves, but really I should be modelling how I play as a fullback on Philipp Lahm. And I think that the penny has dropped, but yeah, he can obviously have his moments. I think Kieran Trippier, we've got a player that may not be as quick, and Kyle Walker is remarkably fast. I mean, he is. They say that he was, one of the players that keep up with Bale and Lennon. That is how quick he is. I don't know if the injuries affected that, but he is incredibly quick. Trippier, I don't think, is to be as quick, but we saw that he's got good crossing. One of the things that Windy Coy said that, you know what, you just put loads and loads of balls in the box. First of all, at Burnley, they played a 4-4-2, so that's, you have two strikers. But clearly, we have to be better at, he has to be better at understanding that, when will players break and when will they not. And they have to understand that he will look to put balls in either early or hits that position. That's when I should time my run. So I think it's just the timing, chemistry, and just building understanding of that. But I was impressed with him from what I saw. Obviously, the MLS All-Stars, those of you who did see the game, it was like night and day. Kaká and Villa, I don't know what Nasser Chadli was doing with that handball, but yeah, Kaká and Villa, it was end-to-end. They, somehow went, Harry Kane, guy saved it with his legs. Within a minute, Kaká showed his, he said it was a deflected shot, but Kaká and Villa, that's what they do. And they were able to produce those moments of magic. They weren't able to produce them consistently enough, and that's why, they're older now. Physically, their bodies are worn, which is why they're playing in the MLS. Maybe I say about this is why they are playing in the MLS, but there are times which they can produce that sense of magic. But if you look at the second half, most of our big hitters, apart from Kane, came off, and it was, you saw some really good stuff from Alderweireld. That was a beautiful pass to Shadley. A bit better control from him, better awareness, or if he was a slightly quicker player, we could have been 2-2. But Alderweireld's great, very impressive range of passing. And Dele Alli, I was impressed by the guy. He drove forward. He's got good energy. He's not the best Hudson pass. Very few people are, but I always said if Jermaine Jenas learned to pass a little bit, then and he actually involved in the game, he didn't disappear, because there were games he'd be fantastic 1 minute, not so great the next. Then but I think he can do this. It's a huge step up. Those of you who saw his League One highlights, he was League One Player of the Year, and if you look at any of those YouTubes, he's clearly, way too good for League One, but it's Premier League, it's a massive jump. But we'll see how he does in the Europa, and like Kane, and the Carling Cup, and like Kane, like Ryan Mason, if you show something that the manager likes, he has no qualms of putting you in. So I'm pretty happy with the signings. Obviously, we've been linked with God knows how many wide forwards, how many strikers and centre midfielders. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I know Windy again really likes Milos. We're playing Eric Dyer. I wrote an article about it. It's a bit Tottenham way. They've done fuck all with it, but if you want it, PM me your email. I'll send to you. It's a 1,500 word article, bloody long-winded, but as well, this befits me. But Eric Dyer, he clearly wasn't the best midfielder. I know he played for Sporting, but that's not his real position. But he didn't do a terrible job. But I really do think this is Pochettino's way of saying, look, I can play Dyer, and yes, I've got Milos, who's a good kid, but I want someone proven, and you guys need to get me that. We've been linked to Sven Bender, Christoph Kramer. I don't think McCarthy's happening, because I think Everton wanted a lot of money, 20 million. And I think James McCarthy's a good player, but is he £20 million worth? I don't know. It's a tough call. So that's just my feelings on the matter. But hopefully, I said we linked with Sven Bender, who's knows you a lot better defensively, but passing isn't as good. And Kramer, who's not the best tackler, but he's got very good passing. So I don't know. For me personally, if Kramer's anything like Carrick, good range of passing, hopefully two-footed, that keeps the ball moving and allows Ben to freeze him up, then I think he'd be a great signing. But we'll see how it goes. Wide forward, we've been linked with everyone. Copley, I can't pronounce his name. One Sevilla. We've had another player, Yamarolenko. Apparently, he said we're in negotiations, but I don't know how much English he speaks, and I don't know if that's his agent saying that. Say, look, I'm in negotiation with Tottenham, so increase my wages, because obviously we've heard about Maritalda, Anthony Marshall from Monaco, increasing his contract, improving it, signing a new deal. Maybe Clinton Njai does the same thing. Maybe Saido Berahino does the same thing. So clearly we need a midfielder, a winger, and maybe a couple of strikers, because everyone's favourite striker, Addy, maybe going. Look, Addy's been done to death and talked to, and some of the stuff that comes out of it is really horrible. But at the same time, and I'm always grateful for the goals Addy scored in that. And the first season he was there with us. But clearly, he responds better to some managers than others, and we're all like that. Some people motivate us differently. Some people respond to different motivations, and clearly, AVB he didn't respond to, but to Tim Sherwood he did. And if he goes to Villa, probably on loan, he may do a very good job. But obviously, wages and everything else. This is his last big contract, so you can understand. He's going to bargain really hard for it. I think he'll be the last, maybe out the door, like the last 30 seconds. But I think he'll be gone. Soldado. Here's the thing. I don't think Soldado was ever cut out for the Premier League. He's not physically strong enough. He's not quick enough. His movement isn't intelligent enough. Yeah, he's a bad player. He's obviously a good player, but what you need to succeed in the Premier League, he just doesn't have. And unfortunately, it hasn't worked out. Obviously for the big £26 million, we did end up paying, because I think it's 30 million and loads of bonuses and stuff like that, which goes up to that, triggers that release clause. So I don't think he's performed enough to trigger that release, that whole extra set of payments. And he goes to Villarreal. All right, he's not played in Spain now for, I would assume, 2 years, but they know his record. They know he can, if you play to his strengths, he will score you a truckload of goals. And if he goes off, I wish him well. I did see him at the open training that we had at White Hart Lane, and to be totally fair, I got a bad energy from him. You can just tell he just didn't want to be there. He's just not happy. That's from what I felt, because the other players that came out, like Vlad, he just wanted to get out of there. But Michel Vaughan, Dembele, they all gave the thumbs up. They just acknowledged the crowd a little bit. He didn't. He wasn't even driving the car. It was his mate. So take from that what you will. Benzema, I don't know much about the guy. All I can tell you is that he looks fucking massive. He's a big unit. Looks a bit too big, but we'll see how that works. What this means for Fazio, I don't know. But I think Fazio, to be totally fair, as a fifth centre-half, is it that bad to have one? Centre-halves, they know the club, and, to bring one in, if say one gets injured, you get the three, and then, you're trying to rotate with that three. Plus you have 2 games a week. It can be dangerous. So a centre-half, you generally want to have at least an emerged centre-half. Obviously, Cameron Carter-Vickers or 2CV is quite a few guys on Spurs Forum that are calling him. Seem to be very highly rated, as is Milic Velkovic. As you saw, I saw a bit of Serbia versus Brazil and under-20s. And obviously, under-20s, the players aren't physically developed as they are, as they will be later in life. But he looked a really good player. And for me, he was one of Serbia's best players. Apart from their goalkeeper, I think he was at least arguing one of their top players. We'll see how he goes. I'm hoping that he'll get some time in Europa. Hopefully we won't have to play Dyer at position. We play Dyer and Vimmer, and hopefully play, Milos there. It'll be interesting because we've got Tom Carroll back. See how that works out. I'm not sure. I'm really hoping it does work out. When I first saw Tom Carroll, I was a big fan. I thought he had an eye for a pass. He could hold the ball very, very well and distribute it. Is he enough? There's a reason why Ki Sun Young, I can't pronounce it. The South Korean guy played for Southampton ahead of him. Swansea ahead of him, as did John J. Shelby. It made sense. But hopefully, who knows? Ryan Mason, Harry Kane didn't exactly burn it up when they were on loan, and they had fantastic. They went on to have obviously Harry Kane had a fantastic season. But I think you can't. Different managers, different loans, different methods. Time will tell, really. But yeah, I'm happy in terms of what we've done, transfer dealing wise. We've kept it. You call it a George Graham thing, but George Graham always built from the back. If you have, you need to be, you need to have a solid back door, and you're not doing like a toothless tiger. In 2008, we couldn't score goals for love nor money because we sold Berbatov and Kane, and teams knew that they could just nick one goal. It only takes one goal to win a game. So as long as you score one more goal than the opposition, you can win a game. And we couldn't attack, and there was no real spark. So teams knew they could just go a bit more forward and they would nick a goal. And so defensively, I think we're going to be a lot tighter. So I'm hoping that means that teams won't be, they will basically be a bit more behind the ball. They will be anyway. Harry Kane showed his quality. That was a good bit of movement. Obviously, it was a bit of a Gerrard slip, but he had to catch up, caught up on it. And there were moments he really, his interplay was brilliant at times. And this is a player that's pretty much has played non-stop most of this year. I don't think he's had a break apart from diving with some pigs in the Bahamas. I'll give a big shout out to Eliana Fu, Facebook buddy of mine who now lives in Los Angeles or Las Vegas, part of LA Spurs. And she went out to Denver, and apparently she put like bracelets on every single Spurs player she could find, and especially apparently much seen as well, still wearing a Spurs bracelet, which is odd though because generally you take off everything when you have a shower, but maybe he liked it that much, and he liked it that much he kept it on, took it off, put it back on again. So I give a shout out to her, and there was clearly, it was a bit of an odd one because time zones will affect you if you're playing. When I went to the States, my body clock was all over the place, and obviously I'm not going first class and everything's taken care of, but it does affect you, especially just for a one-off game. And it was purely a marketing thing. You had Spurs from all over, all the Spurs support clubs from all over the US just came together, and that was a nice acknowledgement. There's a lot of American fans that do support Tottenham when they could easily support like your Chelseas, your Man U's, your Man Cities, your Liverpools, your Arsenals, who are arguably a lot more successful, a lot in some cases bigger than us. Man U is like one of the biggest clubs in the world. Liverpool got an incredible history. Arsenal playing a very good brand of football. Chelsea and Man City got lots of money, so they're naturally going to be more successful. Then any Spurs fan that anyone support us that doesn't have a link with the area, doesn't have a connection per se to Tottenham, but likes what we're doing, I'm very grateful for their support, and I'm glad that the Spurs fan did acknowledge it. I mean, even if it is a big marketing thing, it is nice to be acknowledged. The new stadium's going to be interesting. The NFL, I mean, I am curious if we can Spurs it up somehow, but 2 games a season, it makes a lot of money. It'll definitely increase our brand exposure in the US. And I'm going to ask her, I don't know who to support, because chatting to a mate of mine who is a big Tottenham fan, and he's a big New York Jets fan. He loves NFL, watches it religiously, and obviously, and if you can, because obviously I can't because of the time zones, and it's just very, very difficult. I used to watch the 49ers, but unfortunately I have to kill that because, never read. So I don't know who to support. I mean, ideally, my ideal team will be wearing white, with a little bit of blue, obviously, and generally can't be that successful. So that rules out the Cowboys, and I just don't really like the Cowboys anyway. There's something about them, I don't know. I can't support them. So I'm going towards the Colts because I've got friends, James and AJ, who live in Indiana, and another mate of mine is also from Indianapolis, actually yourself, and another mate of mine, Tim, hey buddy, who actually also is from Indiana. So I do tend to go to Indiana a bit, but obviously I've got friends in New York, New Jersey, like just top of Pennsylvania, so probably around that area. So, but ideally, I want a team that isn't that good, so I can't be glory chasing, but it seems to have something about them. So we'll see how that goes. In terms of obviously Man U, it'll be an interesting game in terms of the fact that Man U have spent so much money. I mean, Schweinsteiger, Schneiderlin, who we obviously desperately wanted, but we were never going to get unless we got Champions League. They've obviously got Memphis Depay. They've got some good players there. No sense about it. And there may be, obviously they've sold Van Persie, so they don't, I mean, Rooney is he's their only main striker I can think of. Another guy like Hernandez, and that's a guy we've been linked to, and hopefully that's a player. I wouldn't mind against signing him, not because I think Hernandez is a superb player. I don't think he's really been able to grasp the nettle per se. He's been seen as a super sub, but he has good movement. He's a little bit quicker than Soldado, younger obviously. Knows the Premier League. I think he'll get you, even if he gets like 4 or 5 goals in the Premier League, that's more than Soldado and Addy combined last season. 5-6 goals, maybe be greedy and go for 10, but for a third striker to get you 5, 6, even 7 goals, Premier League goals, that's still a pretty good contribution. I mean, people have a go at Pav, but make no mistake, Pav's goals, he got some key goals at some key times for us, one of the reasons we got Champions League back when we did, through the league. So yeah, I'm hoping that we can, move on. I mean, there has been a bit of infighting between a lot of Spurs fans, the Levy lovers, the Redknapp haters, and all that kind of stuff. I like things have moved on. I like what Poch is doing. You can see that there's an idea there. Is there a plan B? I'm not too sure. But again, he can only, it's like a cook can only make the best thing with the ingredients he has. There's no point going to a vegan chef or a fish chef, say, like, here's a steak, cook me a fantastic steak, when the guy's, he's a fish chef, or he's a vegan chef, or a vegetable, you have to, or a pastry chef, and you say, look, you're a cook. I'm going to give you make something really delicious with this steak, even though it's not a specialty. You have to give him all things to work with. But there's, here's a guy that has been going to a lot of the youth games. He was there, I think, the FA Youth Cup semi-final, and there was a few Spurs players there, like Bentaleb and Rose. I think Pochettino was there, so he's clearly got an interest in developing that talent. And clearly, with, I don't know how ring-fenced the money is, transfers and wages and stuff like that, that it's going to be expensive. And, you get any builders in, things take time. We might have to rent out Wembley, so we might barely make any money that season, or we can't be in our stadium. So it's going to be a difficult time. So hopefully if our football factory at Bulls Cross can, churn out, at least, even if they only churn out one player a year, one solid player, even maybe two, that can be a saving of what, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 million. So, and plus it's someone who knows the club inside out. Hopefully, I don't know if they're going to be passionate or loving the club or supporting the club, since they were, we can't say, are they one of their own if they're not born or raised in the area? And there's a lot of gooners like to say Harry Kane did spend, I think, 6 months at Arsenal, so yeah, but he's still one of our own. Remember that. I just think it's going to be an interesting one how, we are able to reach players. I mean, obviously Harry Winks, you saw Harry Winks, Shaquille Fuller has nothing to do. Apparently, he had, I didn't see the game against Stevenage, but apparently he played very well. But really, the standout players were Cameron Carter-Vickers and Milos Veljkovic. And Cameron Carter-Vickers is 17 years old, and for a 17-year-old to be, one of either the best or the second best player on the pitch, says a lot. This is a very special kid. Clearly, he's not ready just yet, but who knows? He does well in the under-18, under-21 league. He may even get a couple of Europa League games as a substitute, just to see what professional football's really like. And who knows? He may step up. I doubt it, but he's meant to be a very, very special player. And so I hope the same for Milos. And so if those two kids come through, maybe the start of next season, that saved you a whole bunch of money, because then you might say move on Fazio for I don't know, say 5 million, but you've saved 5 million and all plus its wages as well. And let's say Veljkovic becomes that really good centre midfielder. You may have bought, I don't know, Kramer or a Bender for, say, 15, 16 million, but you've got another player that really you can push, that can really push him. Especially if hopefully, I don't think we'll get Champions League next year. I seriously doubt that, but you never know. A lot can go right. A lot has to go right for us. A lot has to go wrong for other clubs. But why not? I mean, we've shown that we can beat some of the big teams that come to the lane, and we've shown that we can convince them beatingly. I think, at times we were running on empty. We weren't able to maintain that level of intensity. Over sharpening the blade, over egging the pudding, whatever you want to call it. There just wasn't anything left in the tank, and the results did slip. But I am hoping that, we've got rid of a lot of the deadwood players that he had no interest in playing. We've got, Pritchard, meant to be a very, very good player. Carroll, I don't know what's happening with him, but you've got a couple of players that can come in for Ericsson if need be. On the wings, I know Pritchard can play there. And if we get that winger from Amarolenko or something, we've got a bit of quality there. And if we get some player up front, could we get top four? Unlikely, but why not? I mean, I definitely think with the exception of, say, obviously Luka Modric, Ledley King, but obviously he was injured for most of that season, and obviously Gareth Bale, but we didn't know Gareth Bale was going to become the player he was going to become. I would say man for man, and obviously Aaron Lennon had a very good season that year. I think man for man, we were a lot better than that team that qualified for Champions League back in 2010. You know, and obviously football's moved on. Football's moved on. Man City are an established force. They were just building that. But you know, I still think that who knows? It can happen. I think we are a better team than we were. So we have made progression. But obviously, if you sell a couple of your rainmakers, your heavy hitters, or the fulcrum of that team, your team will suffer, and it does take time to rebuild. So yeah, so I'm hoping you enjoyed this YouTubes. I've tried to keep it as brief as I can. Hopefully, me and my boy Kevin G will hopefully have something for you pretty soon. But yeah, check out. There are loads of Spurs podcasts out there. The Tottenham Way is obviously if you like ice cream, there's ice cream down my road. Yeah. You got the Tottenham Family podcast, which is pretty good. The Tottenham Way podcast, which I listen to, it's actually pretty good. It's on SoundCloud. Hotspur America, Company Tottenham, 617 and 17. There's some really good Spurs podcasts out there. So if you, like me, you do a fair bit of driving, it's great to listen to Spurs. And hopefully, if you like this, DVD Video Soft, you can download me from YouTube, I guess, and hopefully you'll enjoy listening to me and just chatting Spurs. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this, and check me out on Twitter, Before the Real Shub, and I'm very glad to be able to speak to you guys, and hopefully we'll have a good season. And I'm remember the joke was that next year I need to because next year will be our year for sure. I don't think next year will be our year. I think it's very unlikely, but in Harry Kane we've got a player. I don't think he'll get 20 goals. I seriously doubt he'll get 20 goals, but even if he gets 15, 16 goals, if you can get another player alongside him that can get a couple more, another couple of strikers in that can get, say, 15 goals between them, that's 30. It's 30 goals. Ericsson and Chadley did 10 league goals each. Hopefully Mella can get more of his shooting boots on. Maybe get 5, 6. Yarmolenko, Bentaleb, and just for the rest of the team and keep a few clean sheets. If you 1-0 to Tottenham, which hopefully we'll know is boring as Arsenal, but if we can get some good results. We do play some good football at times. I mean, we saw against Arsenal and against Chelsea, we can play some really, really good football. It's just about being consistent, and hopefully, he's got rid of the players he didn't want. The players from the cabal, and he can hopefully bring in some more of his own players and really put a stamp on the team. So, my name's Shub, and this has been YouShubes. Thank you very much, guys.